Welcome to day one of Michael and Gemma's trip up north audio diary.
It's our Corrie tour diary.
Our Corrie tour. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and we've just left my mum and dad's house in Coventry. We're heading up to Manchester later this afternoon, but we're going to stop off at Bakewell on the way.
Yeah.
Famous for its tarts.
Yeah, and puddings.
As you might be able to hear from the background, it's absolutely chucking it down with rain at the moment, but we've got our fingers crossed.
I'm not used to this. I'm from the south. We don't have rain.
We got our fingers crossed that it won't be quite so grim when we get up north, but you never know. We'll come back later when we're a little bit further ahead on our journey.
Bye. Well, we've just come out of Bakewell where we had a nice lunch.
Yes.
It's famous for its tarts, just like Coronation Street.
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah, and etc.
One might say.
Well,
called the tart. I think a lot of people have been called tarts in their day. Elsie Tanner.
The Manchester tart, perhaps not as famous, but still delicious.
It probably is, yeah. Now we're going to go off to the land of cakes, to Eccles, where we've got a hotel.
Yeah, we're staying at the Ascot Hotel, which in 2007 played host to Ken Barlow himself because he was running off from Deirdre.
Yeah.
They'd had a falling out because
and Tracy, of course.
Tracy was naughty and hit someone over the head, Charlie Stubbs, because he was a bit of a cad. So she bonked him on the head, as we know, and she told everyone it was self-defence, but she confided in Deirdre that she did it on purpose, and Ken found out and couldn't cope with it because we all know how morally upstanding Kenneth is.
Yeah.
So he went off for a week and he stayed in the hotel that we're going to be staying at, so they filmed some scenes there with him, and Deirdre went there as well, didn't she, because the landlady sort of spoke to her at one point when she came up looking for Ken.
Yeah, and Deirdre was also a bit worried at that point as well because Ken's ex-flame Denise Osborne had come back on the scene along with his 10-year-old, I think, son Daniel, who didn't really want to know Ken that much. So Deirdre ended up slapping Ken in the Rovers and then went and apologised, and then they made up again, so he didn't have to stay at the Ascot for any longer.
Yeah, so that's where we're heading off now, and we'll report back later.
Right, it's now 20 to 4 in the afternoon, Monday afternoon, and we've arrived in Eccles. We've been to our hotel, which is very nice, the Ascot Hotel.
Highly recommended.
And we got an upgrade in our room and everything, because they had one free.
No, because we're important.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so important. He's a fan of our podcast.
It's good, yeah. I did recognise it. We watched the YouTube clip of Ken going there last night.
Yeah.
It is the same one.
It's definitely the same one.
Yeah, blimey, the rain, though, on the way up.
It was coming down quite a lot.
Yeah, we could hardly see the car in front of us. It was so heavy. But luckily it's stopped now. It's still a bit grizzly.
It's drizzling a little bit.
But it's not too bad.
It's under control, so don't panic.
And we've been to a hotel and we've just been on our first proper stop of Corrie location.
I thought you were going to say stalk, because we do feel like a pair of stalkers.
We are a bit like some stalkers at the moment. We're just sitting outside 91A Victoria Road in Salford, which is otherwise known as 5 Grasmere Drive, which is Audrey's house.
Audrey's old house.
Her old house. They've changed filming locations recently, apparently, because the man who lived there was getting on a bit, and he it's causing more problems than it was worth to film there. And this is most famous for the scene, I think, when Alma died, and Audrey was racing there. Was it Curly was driving her there?
Yes.
And and Audrey couldn't bring herself to go up, and then she
That's
made
horrible.
it just a little bit too late.
She made it, but too late, doesn't it?
Yeah, so just looking up into the room now where Alma died. So sad, so sad.
If you are on hunting for locations, we can give you some advice about this, because there are actually 2 Victoria roads quite near to each other.
Yeah.
And then a second one in another part of Manchester, it seems, or that's what our TomTom says. So the way to find this one is to go for the Victoria Road, which is off Orvieto Avenue.
Yes.
That's our tip.
Not only are there 2 Victoria roads, there's also 2 Grasmere drives, because we're just about to go now and see if we can find Audrey's new location where they shoot her house.
Which isn't fancier.
I think it's a bit fancier.
She's gone up in the world, even though she used to be the mayoress. Yes.
So let's go and find Audrey's damp house.
Let's go! So now we are by Audrey's new house, which is bigger. She's got a garage now because, she's got a car.
It looks incredibly much, much different than the old one.
She's got a nice driveway and a little sort of patio. Well, what's it called? Like an entranceway.
Yeah, a nice little entrance hall.
Yeah.
See, but the old house was like the right-hand side of a semi-detached, and this is the left-hand side of a semi-detached. I haven't even been able to get that right.
Bad.
That's right, they just have to edge it in gently. But this was, I don't know how long they've been using this house, but we watched the scene last night where they just found Lewis's DVD, and then Audrey had gone home and found a bunch of flowers addressed to her saying, "All my love," or whatever,
Aww.
from Lewis, and she had a nice little happy cry.
Happy cry.
So that definitely happened here.
Yes.
And we're just going to head down the road now to try and find the Red Wreck, which is at Langworthy Park, so it's only a few minutes away from here.
And this was only a few minutes from Audrey's house, so...
Yeah.
See you in a minute.
We've just been on the next stop on our Coronation Street locations tour, and we visited Chimney Pot Park, which is famous in Coronation Street because it used to feature on the credits. And I think, according to information that I've seen on the internet now, is also where they sometimes film some of the Red Wreck scenes. Although we didn't particularly recognise much of it, did we?
We don't really pay that much attention, though, to be fair.
I know, I think like when Red Wreck comes on the show next, we'll recognise it more, I think, once you've been there.
If they actually film it there.
Right, yeah.
I don't think they can now, though, because they've redeveloped part of the area.
Well, they have to be very careful where they go, because with one side of it, there's some old-fashioned houses, very much like Coronation Street style terraces.
Well, they're terraces with like bay windows and
those chimneys with the crowns on, like you get to see.
And the doors open straight onto the street.
Yeah, and then on the other side, there's a new development of them that's like just a modern version.
It's like as if IKEA had made factory terrace houses.
But it looks cool though, doesn't it?
They're really nice. I really want to, yeah.
It's like old meets new.
Wow.
Right, so that's it from Chimney Pot Park. We're going to be heading off to Phelan's house now.
To do a bit of rummaging.
Yeah, we got our ladders on the top of the car because
Yeah.
it's apparently very easy to break in there.
Just have to
Poke this burglar alarm off and then you're in. It's easy as that.
It's easy.
Yeah.
You can't find anything in there though. But we're going to look for some pesto.
Yeah, and I think out of all the locations that we go to today, this one's going to be most exciting for us because it's featured most recently and most heavily on the show.
Yes.
So it should be fun. So we'll be back later with our report on that.
Right, it's Michael and Gemma here, but you probably knew that already. We've come back defeated from the search for Phelan's mansion.
Their security measures were tougher than we thought.
Yeah, I don't know how Gary managed to work out which one is his, because they all look the same.
Yeah, we had a road, but we didn't have a house.
So we've seen many of them. We probably have seen the one that is his. But which one was it? We don't know. We're going to go to the local McDonald's and access their Wi-Fi so that we can watch the video and get some clues from the footage.
And we'll go back. Unless we've already got a photo of it, because we took a photo of some.
It's like The Bill, but it's about Coronation Street.
We'll be back.
So we just got back from our second attempt to find Phelan's mansion, and we found it this time.
Yeah, we found it. We found the video of it, found out what number it was, number 5, and then we got there, got the photo, all sorted there.
That was Ringley Chase or something.
Yes, that's right.
So then we went to the church.
Yeah, this is the church. What was it called? St Mary's, I think, which is where they do a lot of the weddings and things and funerals. So we had a nice little walk around there. That was a nice building. Lots of good graves.
Very distinctive red bricks. Nice.
It was a really nice building actually. It was
picturesque.
Really nice location. Not many houses surrounding it. It was kind of almost in the middle of nowhere from sort of a lot of the angles. That was a lovely little place. And then from there we headed off to Heaton Park, massive public park, which is where they often film some of the other Red Wreck scenes where they want something a bit bigger.
For example, when Roy was wandering around in his pyjamas.
Yeah, when he went a bit mad last year and wandered around in his pyjamas around the Red Wreck, that was there. I don't know what else they had there.
The boating lake.
Oh yeah, of
we
course.
went to go see, that took us ages to find.
It was that boating lake. It was that's not very well signposted, but that was the boating lake where Roy and Hayley had their first kiss. That was there, and also Les Battersby rode out there once, and he got his boat stolen, I think, if I remember rightly.
When they went back to the boating lake, that was just for the extras on the internet, wasn't it? They
Yes,
didn't show that in the.
That's right. No, they didn't. I don't think so. On Hayley's diary, they went back there.
It was on Hayley's bucket list.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, that was a lovely park. Nice views there as well. Absolutely huge. It made me wonder, sort of question how big I think the Red Wreck is, because I kind of picture it as being somewhere bigger than Chimney Pot Park, which is very, very small, and a lot smaller than this Heaton Park. So it's a bit confused in my mind now.
Yeah, and it's quite on the outskirts of Manchester, isn't it? It's not really
Yeah.
anywhere near the city centre, so obviously there's a bit more room there.
Yeah, definitely.
And
But
there's
it's
a
a good
huge
place.
old house. Is it Heaton Hall it was
Yes.
called, which is all boarded up, which is sad.
Yeah. And we saw some nice ducks and rabbits as well.
Yes, and a squirrel.
So we're heading off now back to the centre of Manchester, where we're going to try. Well, we've booked a table at Annie's, which is the restaurant owned by Jennie McAlpine and her partner. Sometimes she's there, usually she's not. So we're going to go there with fingers crossed and hopefully have a very nice meal as well. Right, we are back from our evening out at Annie's restaurant.
Yep, that was our final stop of the day.
We're turning in for the night now. It was
pretty epic.
It was unbelievably epic evening because we met Jennie McAlpine.
That's right, she was there.
We had our fingers crossed and that obviously worked.
Yeah.
She wasn't there all the time. We got there and there was one other pair
Party.
of people there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had our dinner and we had our starters and we had our mains, and halfway through our mains, Jennie McAlpine came up.
With her dad, Tom.
Yeah, with her dad.
He was lovely. She was lovely.
They were both lovely.
Really
We couldn't
nice.
believe it. But she was speaking to these other guys first because they'd been talking to the waiter because they'd been out on the Coronation Street Tour today. So he was like, "Oh, so do you like Coronation Street?" And yeah, and then Jennie McAlpine came up about half an hour or so later for them, and then she came over to our table. So we were like, "Oh, can we get a photo with you?" And she did. She was very, very nice. She only stayed with us for a couple of minutes or so, but what did she even talk to us about? I don't remember.
She said to me, "Are you gonna eat the rest of your dinner?"
Oh yeah, because Jen was getting a bit full at that point.
I hadn't made much progress, and I told her she smelled nice, which is a bit strange for me, but she did. She smelled lovely. She had gorgeous, lovely hair, just like on the show.
She did. Her hair's
wearing a
amazing.
nice green coat, which I thought was very nice. And her dad, Tom, he looked like a little fisherman, didn't he? He had a nice yellow cable knit jumper on.
Yeah.
He was
I don't
really
remember
cool.
what they were wearing.
He took a photo of us, and we got a photo each with her.
Yes, we put them up on Facebook and Twitter, so some of you will have already seen those.
And the other pair of people that were there were called Ken and Rob, and they were Canadians who'd come over to see the tour. We told them about the podcast, so they might be listening to that.
Hello.
This would be weird for you. And they were really nice. They told us all about the tour and what to expect tomorrow when we go.
Yeah.
And they had a really awesome time, and they are doing the most amazing whistle-stop tour of Europe I've ever heard of. I think they said they come from Norway today. They're in Manchester for the day. They go to Sweden tomorrow.
They've been in Bruges.
Yeah, they've been in Bruges and Brussels for a few days, and then they're going back home again. So they seem to have had a really good time.
Yeah.
I don't know what there is in Sweden compared to Manchester, because I don't know how many Corrie things there are there.
I don't think there's many.
So they seemed. They also heard of Southampton. I thought Southampton was cool. They didn't say anything about culture, did they? No, because it sucks. So
overall, it was very, very good. But the worst bit of this evening was Manchester is a pig to drive through.
Yeah.
Half the roads were closed off,
the
and the other half were one way.
Um,
and our sat nav didn't understand this.
No, and we drove in circles and drove ourselves mad.
Yeah.
Until we found an extortionate car park, which, if anyone knows or lives in Manchester, I'm sure you will all agree that the parking is very expensive
and sparse.
But then again, we're
used
to expensive parking. Brighton's the same, so is London.
So that is the end of our first day on our
But
Coronation Street
excuse
tour.
me, wait a minute.
Oh, he's finished.
We went to Annie's. You didn't say anything about. Look, you talk about boring things like who we saw and what they did. I want to talk about things like what they were wearing and what we ate. Those are the most important things.
Well, we said that. Oh no, we didn't
said
say what we
anything
ate.
about the food. We went to a restaurant. We ate food, and that's as far as Michael's going to commit.
I had a lovely corned beef hash cake and then a cottage pie.
You had a little poached egg on the top of your hash cake, didn't you? And some tomato chutney.
Oh yes.
Or relish.
Yes.
And for my starter, I had Lancashire rarebit.
Very traditional,
which I wouldn't say was much different from Welsh rarebit, but I'm not going to complain because it was absolutely delicious. And I had, I think it was like was it?
You had a hot pot.
A red onion chutney with it. I
Yes.
haven't got that far yet. And I also had 2 glasses of very delicious cherry brandy and prosecco, which I think was called something.
It was fizz something.
Annie's Fizz or something.
Yeah.
It was like the signature.
Something fizz.
The signature.
Fizz related.
A signature cocktail, and it had a little cherry in the bottom because I do like cherries. And then I had a hot pot for my main, which came with some pickled red cabbage, which definitely had some star anise in it, which is a nice touch. And we had some chips between us, and they were sort of giant chunky chips that they sort of stack into a fork normally, but it came in a bucket because it was a side dish.
And then we shared a pudding, and it was a nice little ice cream bomb with popping candy on, and it was called Fizz Bomb, of course.
Of course it was. It was really good. It was
Yeah.
just chocolate ice cream with a hard chocolate shell.
Yeah, very
And
good
chocolate.
restaurant.
Yeah, it was a nice
If
restaurant.
anyone is going into the Manchester area, we heartily recommend it. You might meet Jennie McAlpine, but the food is pretty good as well.
Well, it's very nice because it's sort of like a traditional northern cuisine, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you can come here and you can sort of go to, lots of nice Chinese places or like up and coming kind of like burger joints or whatever. But if you're going to come here for a Corrie experience,
Yeah, definitely go to
go
Annie's.
to Annie's because it's got really good food
Yes.
and it's very traditional, and I had a nice coffee as well.
And nice waiters and everything. All good
Alessandro.
service. Yeah, that's how I say.
Yeah, if you're listening, Alessandro, hello. You probably aren't, but we did leave a note for you to let you know that we were going to review you. I give you 9 out of 10
Yes, me too.
because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, Jenny could have pulled up a chair and sat down and
No, but we're marking
ate with us.
Alessandro here.
Oh,
The restaurant on a whole, yeah, I would say,
it's good. It's very good.
yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
nice evening out.
Yep.
There weren't very many people there, but we're going to put that down to the fact that it was quite late on a Monday evening,
Yes.
school
yeah.
night.
Well, it sells itself as a place to go before you go and see a show, doesn't it, in Manchester?
Yeah, I
so
don't know
by the time
where
we
the
got there,
theatres
I
are.
think everyone had
It was curtains up, I think, by
Yeah.
that point.
Well, I didn't mind that at all.
No.
It's good. It wasn't too noisy. Right, so that is definitely the end of our first day.
concludes our first Corrie day,
Coronation
and I
Street
feel
Tour.
like I've been all the way around the world and back, but we've only been from Coventry to Manchester and then seen all the sights, which is nowhere near as hard as coming from Brussels to Manchester and then to Sweden.
Yeah, but it was a very good day. I enjoyed seeing Phelan's house both times. Definitely, obviously, enjoyed Jennie McAlpine, seeing her. That was the
That was
highlight.
the highlight of the day.
Definitely.
She's so nice.
All the places we visited, it was cool seeing them for real, wasn't it? But I
Yeah.
think it's well, apart from possibly the Jennie McAlpine bit, it's going to pale into significance when we go and see the set tomorrow.
Well, I think the fact that we saw Jennie McAlpine today will make today stand its own against tomorrow, because we are expecting tomorrow to blow our minds.
Yeah, and it better not rain, because the rain
It's
it
been
came
on
and
and
it came and went today. So we're hoping for a nice day tomorrow.
But if it's still raining, at least it's authentic
Yes.
weather.
Northern weather.
Yeah.
Right.
British weather.
That's it for tonight then, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Right, it's Tuesday morning. Welcome to day 2 of the Conversation Street Tour of Manchester. We had a fantastic day yesterday, and we're hoping that today is going to be just as good. I'm sure it will be, because
better.
today's when we're going to go on the set tour itself this afternoon, so that should be pretty good. We're also going to be meeting one of our podcast contributors there.
Yeah.
Yes, Tibor will be there.
She's gonna give her comments in person today
Yes.
instead of just via an email. So that'll be quite exciting.
Very excited to see her. The weather is changeable again today. It's raining at the moment, but it has also been bright. It's bright blue skies ahead of us, so we've still got fingers crossed that the weather for the tour will be good. And we're just heading off now to the Daisy Nook Garden Centre, which is run by a guy called Mark Llewellin, who's a bit of a Corrie expert. He does Coronation Street talks, and they've also got an exhibit of Coronation Street memorabilia there. So we're going to go there, have a look at that, and hopefully get a talk with him as well.
Yep.
Right, we're here with Mark Llewellin, the co-owner of Daisy Nook Garden Centre. We've come here today because he's got a fantastic exhibition of Coronation Street memorabilia. Also, Mark is a bit of an expert on Corrie as well. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thanks. Start off, why did you decide to open up a Corrie exhibition here?
Well, basically, I had boxes and boxes of Corrie memorabilia that I've collected one way or another for about 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And I bought Park Share the Garden Centre 2 years ago. And we had a space, and somebody suggested, it wasn't my suggestion, somebody said, why don't you open a Corrie exhibition? So it was a chance to clear out the attic and share some of it with some of the fans.
Oh no, it's a good idea. Well, tell us more about your love of the show then. How long have you been watching?
I can remember watching with my grandmother in about 1979, Which I always say, it was an episode where the lorry came through the front of the Rovers.
Oh, yeah.
Deirdre had parked Tracy
Yeah.
outside and thought she was killed. We all know it would have been better if she hadn't.
Yeah.
So all those years, really. I mean, I have to confess, I don't get to see all the episodes anymore, and that's partly because I know quite a bit of what's coming.
Yeah.
So it spoils
You
it.
kind of read on the front of the soap weekly.
Yeah, it's
half the
difficult
time
to
what's gonna
avoid
happen.
these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and then I was a director of a theatre just up the road where a lot of the cast had started their careers
Okay.
and came back to do things. So I got to know quite a lot of the cast there, and then and then almost by mistake I got asked to look after visiting Canadian fans about 15 years ago,
Right.
and I used to have them for 10 days at a time, going around all the
Wow.
locations like you've been doing.
Yeah.
Taking them into the studios and watching filming and that
Gosh.
kind of thing. I still do it, but I just do a couple of days at
Yeah.
the time. I'm getting too old for the full 10 days.
So what's your favourite piece in the exhibition?
I like the 1967.
Oh yeah.
Which you've just had a
The show Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, with all the characters.
Yeah, it was produced for a new producer, and it kind of had the character details and the ideas for coming plots.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about what sort of secrets that were in the scripts? And
Well, at that
upcoming?
time they were looking to kind of make the show a bit racier. So they were looking at I think their first gay storyline and drug
right.
taking, and they decided Emily was a bit boring.
Poor
I
Emily.
cannot imagine such.
No.
She's very racy, and they
Sure,
were.
she's Breaking Bad.
She does.
She
Yeah,
does. Yes, she
Breaking
does.
Bad now.
And goodness knows what else. And they were planning to have her get pregnant by a Hungarian violinist, which they didn't go ahead with. Thankfully.
Well, at least the violinist's got a bit of culture, I suppose.
Yes, that's what she would have been drawn
Yeah,
to, wasn't
exactly.
it? Evening of classical concerts.
So you said that a lot of the items came from your attic. How did you get them before there? How did they come into your possession?
Quite a lot of the cast have given me things over the years, which is very nice, and they still do. And I have bought the odd thing online, but only the odd little bit.
Yeah.
Pieces.
Yes. And because I do a lot of talks about the street, probably one a week somewhere.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Occasionally in studios, someone in the offices will let me have something to use, yes, to demonstrate something. So I've ended up with boxes of stuff, really.
Yeah. So has it been a big hit with Corrie fans? You get a lot of people coming specifically to visit the exhibition?
We do.
Yeah.
It opened in June last year. It's open 7 days a week. And we get normally a coach or two every week from somewhere in
It is
Britain.
worth coming to see. It's amazing because you've got so many of the original. You've got a few costumes there. You've got a bar area set up with some of the Newton and Ridley, some merchandise. There's even the credits roll, which is amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even think about them
No.
using those. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just using computers nowadays, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There's so much interesting stuff.
But yeah, somebody actually had to stand there and turn the handle
Yeah.
for the credit.
It must have been quite a sort of to keep it steady.
Yes, and you can see in some of the old
was gonna
episodes, if you
say.
watch on YouTube, where they get it wrong and it goes
Yeah.
backwards slightly. And also,
Or they're not quite even.
No, and mistakes in them. They get
Really?
characters and actors' names mixed up
Oh,
quite
no.
often.
I
so
do
you have to have a
that
look for them.
sometimes. Probably people have noticed.
So, do you get visitors from the UK, Canada, all over?
Yes, Australia, New Zealand. We get lots of big groups from Canada come, and of course, when you're going to the studio, that's open for 6 months.
Yeah.
So we got in before them.
Yeah.
Still, we're here afterwards. So it's normally it's one of the only things. I mean, that was another motivation. Is you see on a lot of the websites, fan websites, where can we
Where can we
go
go?
and where can we
Stay,
buy bits and pieces? So we put a little shop in as well.
Yeah, because you've got some really cool items in the shop, some mugs and bags with really cool graphics of characters from the street, which I haven't seen before. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
We'll probably see them in a few shots.
Yes, you
Yeah.
you'll see them everywhere now.
Yeah.
But yes, so it was a kind of thing to say there is something now where you can come
Yeah.
and see something and have a cup of tea as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, apart from the fans, which stars from Corrie have visited?
Well, to use character names, Fizz and John Stape opened it, which is very good. Bet and Alec have both been, and Curly did a launch for his autobiography in October here as well.
Yeah, I saw those pictures.
Yeah, and then I think Rita's said she's going to come and pay us a visit as
Oh,
well.
that's cool. Have you hosted any other Corrie events? So you've just had the launch of the autobiography.
Yes.
Do you do talks here?
I do. I do talks every now and again. Yes, we advertise those. So if people have a look at the website blog, daisynook.com blog, they come up probably every quarter.
What kind of things do you cover in those?
I start because you never know in an audience whether people have watched it for 5 years or 45 years.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I tend to do right from the beginning about Tony Warren, his life, and then how the show was put together in the early days, and then kind of run through it. It's more behind the scenes, some of the tricks of filming, some of the things on the sets, that kind of thing, rather than storylines. And talk about some of the classic characters and actors and what the people were like, what Vi Carson was like in real life, and Doris, Speed. I mean,
those are the things that people really like to
and
hear.
little tricks like Doris. When you watch Doris, she was known for kind of having a imperious look. She used to look up to the horizon, and that's because she used to find the cameras and lighting very distracting. So she used to look above everybody else's head. But it gave Annie Walker that look. Yeah, so that kind of
that's the secret.
Yes.
Okay. So have you got any plans to expand the exhibition?
We're putting in, I came across a few boxes of costumes and things the other day, and there's bits and bobs that don't quite, we tried to put the exhibition together so it tells a bit of a story.
Yeah. Really well laid out.
Yeah, and there's a few bits that don't fit. So we're going to put in a little corner, like a sort of props and wardrobe corner, and all that stuff can go in there. So, yes, I'm hoping I might get a red anorak.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the thing to get.
Yes, I heard last night that I may do so.
Really?
Yeah,
that would be worth coming back for, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview with us today and to show us around the set. It's fascinating. Really, really worth coming.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you. So we've just come back from the Daisy Nook Garden Centre where we had a very interesting chat.
Yeah, that was brilliant talking to Mark there, a real Corrie expert.
Yeah, Mark Llewellin, who is the co-owner of the garden centre and a Corrie aficionado. Yeah. He knows his stuff for sure. He's got an attic full of Corrie props and memorabilia that he's kindly shared with the public at Daisy Nook, so you can go there for free and have a look at all the stuff, and I definitely think you should go visit if you're a Corrie fan. There's so many amazing things there.
Yeah, lots of little oddities and
curios,
treasures.
Yeah, and Mark himself is incredibly knowledgeable, and I'm sure if we had spoken to him for longer we would have found out some really amazing things, but as it was we found out some very interesting tidbits, some of which we can't even tell you. That's how interesting it was. There was some gossips. That was really good fun, and now we are on our way into we're going to go park in a Metrolink because we're going to go off
and see John, who is a taxi driver who does lots of taxi tours around Manchester, sort of looking at the different sites, Coronation Street filming locations. So we're going to go and see him and have a chat with John. So that's where our next stop is. Right, we're here now, partway through the Manchester Coronation Street taxi tour with John Consterdine. He's the tour guide, and he's brought us along to the Castlefield Canal area, which is lots of Coronation Street fans will recognise as being the places such as where Tony Gordon tried to did push Roy into the canal, and where Kirk and Chesney dropped the turkeys into the water. So, John, thanks for joining us today.
No, it's fantastic, isn't it? This area, the Castlefield area of Manchester, is where the Romans came when Manchester was first discovered over 2,000 years ago, and it's heavily used in Coronation Street. So we're actually stood now on the little black and white bridge that Kirk and Chesney threw the turkeys off, that has been featured on the credits many times in Coronation Street. Yeah. So just looking around the area, what do you think? Is this Coronation Street coming to life for you?
It really is. You could kind of have a picture built up in your head about what you think it's going to be like. But to be here, it's really...
It's a really interesting
proper northern
style of quite industrial looking areas, and also the sort of more spruced up kind of gentrified parts that with all the shops and the sort of the weeping willows and everything. This bit is kind of where the dark deeds get done, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you recognise it instantly from your Coronation Street watching?
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of those places hard to put into context. When you see it in the area, it's kind of a bit jarring. But when you see it up close, it's like, oh, that's the bit that we...
Yeah, like the bridge as well. And I think if we go back home...
There's a train. The train's coming past. So all this bit is connected to some train lines that have got regular service. So if you want to take a train, it seems to be quite a good way.
I think when we get home and we watch some of these scenes again, it'll be
Yeah.
even more like, oh, yeah, we were there.
Yeah. So you don't just do Coronation Street tours, you also do other specialised...
I do all sorts of different tours. Coronation Street's just one of them, so I do Manchester United, I do general city tours as well. I'm a guide, a Manchester tour guide. I'm also, I'll let you into a little... No, it's not a secret. I'm also Tourism Star of the Year this year. So I won at the Manchester Tourism Awards, so I'm very proud of that. And I was also nominated for the National Tourism Awards as well, and I finished in the top 10, so I'm very happy about that as well.
Can see why, because you certainly know your stuff.
Yeah.
So onwards and upwards, should we move off somewhere else?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Right, so we've just come to the end of our tour now. We've been all over Manchester looking at some Coronation Street filming locations, but also some really interesting historical buildings as well.
Yeah.
And we're just finishing off. It's a bit echoey, because what's this building that we're in there?
This is the viewing platform of Manchester Taxi Tours, also known as Media City Car Park.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a secret location.
Secret location.
Yeah.
We can look down over the brand new Coronation Street set, and we can actually see the Prima Donna sign. What else can you see there?
Yeah, we can see those the spikes, the triangular roof buildings of where that's supposed to be the brewery, I think. Yeah. We're looking from like behind the Rosamond Street viaduct, I think. You can see the factory just about there, the Underworld factory, the three windows of that. But yeah, doesn't it look big?
This is the car park then for Coronation Street, so we can probably spy on.
And also you can see from here how the Coronation Street set has grown. When you go on the old set, you can see how this one is probably twice or maybe even 3 times bigger. And you've also got Rosamond Street as well, haven't you? If you've noticed on the new Coronation Street where it's been filmed on the new set, we've got all different angles, haven't we, of where it's being filmed, and you know that it's the new set.
Yeah.
But doesn't it look like the old set? It's sort of seamless, isn't it?
Yeah.
How the
It's incredible how they've managed to do it.
It's just fantastic.
So we've been on the tour now, and we started off going through the Castlefield area, looked at the canals, and we did a recording in the bridge, which you've just heard. And we also visited the Rover's Return pub, which was named Rover's Return. It's not the same one, but it's still cool to go and have a look at that one. And we also had a really amazing trip to the court building, where we got a special access inside to see the entrance to the court building, because they're sort of renovating that at the moment.
Turning it into flats.
And this is famous for Free the Weatherfield one.
Yeah.
And also Kirsty and Tyrone's final scene, which was...
Through the railings, so we got a photo of us at the railings.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And then we went to the real Coronation Street in Salford Lads Club.
Yeah.
Where Roy
and Haley
did their practice in the ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we came here, didn't we, to Via, a real special place, which was Ortal Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really interesting. An old Tudor building right in the middle of like industrial Manchester, just...
Yeah, it's where they apparently had the gunpowder plot, so that was a nice bit of history, and that's free to go in as well, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then here we are at what can only be described as the Mecca for Coronation Street fans.
Yeah.
It's just a really fascinating viewing platform to see the whole of Manchester. We've just been outside and you can see the whole city far and wide, and you said on a clear day you can even see as far as Wales from up here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, an international viewing platform.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us a bit more about your taxi company, about how long you've been doing these Coronation Street tours, the tours and the...
Well, I fell up, like I was telling you before, I fell upon the Coronation Street tours more by accident than by good management, and it was people that were asking me to take them where Coronation Street's being filmed. So I started taking people to the set, and when I took people to the set, they asked me to take them to other places where you could see the set from, where scenes had been filmed. And because I've been brought up in Manchester, this was all sort of, I thought everyone knew where it was, and I didn't realise the actual worldwide pull of Coronation Street until I started actually taking people around. And now I've had people from Australia, Canada, and as far away as Southampton and places like that. But people just come from all over the world to to Coronation Street, and I'm so privileged and proud to show the city off and show the Coronation Street locations off, and it just is fantastic, and it's just great to see things moving into the future with the new Coronation Street set as well. And now the old set is open for a few months, it's just bringing so many people into the city. So long may it rain.
Apart from the street itself, what are some of the highlights for most of your people on the tours? What gets the biggest wows from them?
The church, the Coronation Street Church, and also if we bump into any Coronation Street stars.
Does it happen often?
We try and make it happen as often as we possibly can. We can't guarantee it, but then we can put ourselves in the right places at the right time. So hopefully we bump into some of the stars.
Yeah, you say you sometimes end up in Annie's.
Sometimes, we end up in Annie's, and Jennie McAlpine is absolutely fantastic.
He's
so
lovely.
Hospitable.
Yeah.
That is, and the whole family are as well, so it's a really nice place to end up,
So we've just finished the taxi tour of Manchester.
With John Consterdine from Manchester Taxi Tours. That was really worth doing.
ManchesterTaxiTours.com.
We weren't planning to go there originally, were we? But we heard from some other people about what a great experience it was, and it really, really was.
It was amazing. He is such a great ambassador for Manchester. He loves the city, he loves the history.
Knows so much about it. We learned a lot about the history.
He doesn't just do Coronation Street tours. He can do tours of he does the Man United tour, he does Lowry tours. He can tailor a tour to anything that you
Yeah, and it sounds
would
like if you're going around with him and you just want to find something where you say, I fancy seeing this, he'll get you there and be able to tell you about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it saves you so much time and money too, because we tried to sort of cobble together our own tour yesterday, as you all know, and it was quite tough actually to put it together. We didn't really know our way around to Manchester, and
no, the Manchester city centre itself isn't very easy to navigate if you're not from these parts.
No, and well, you just couldn't really replace John's commentary either.
No,
he was amazing. He was great fun. He was so nice and friendly.
Yeah, and he wanted to know about us as well.
Yeah, it was the Corrie experience like no other, really. And he's got also the charm and insider contact to get you into those extra special places that you might not be able to get to by yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, even just like seeing the new set from up high in that car park, we'd have never have known to.
Special secret location.
We'd have never have known to go there.
Yeah, and he also managed to get us inside the court where there's been quite a few famous scenes, so we got to have a look inside there.
And he doesn't usually go in there from the sounds of it. He just saw somebody there and he kind of charmed our way into it. It was great.
He sees an opportunity and he takes it. And he also took us to the Salford Lads Club, which is where they had the album cover for Morrissey and the Smiths did an album cover there, and he sort of talked to us a bit about the history of that, and we went inside and saw the room where all the fans sort of paid tribute to the band there, and that was amazing, even though we don't know very much about that.
I don't know.
But that was also where they filmed Roy and Hayley's dance lessons that they did, one of the rooms, which was, we could look in there. That was really amazing.
It's really funny seeing all the different places just dotted over Manchester. I never really think about it when I watch the programme. I just think that's another set, or that's just a place where they go. That's like Weatherfield. They're real places.
And all the way through, John was talking to us about like history from like the Roman times and like trade unions and everything to do like the industrialisation and the rivalry with Liverpool and the building of the canals and the transformation of the city now into the way it is with the media city and the technology they use, and that was amazing. Yeah. I don't think you could get a better tour of Manchester than with John. No,
really worth doing. So if you're coming up to Manchester, either for Corrie tour or whatever, we definitely recommend it. So again, it's manchestertaxitours.com.
Yeah,
and ask for John. And if you tell him about us, he might give you a bit of a discount as well.
Mention our name.
Mention the podcast. He said he'll give you a discount.
Yeah, you can get up to 5 people in the taxi, and he's a qualified guide. He's got his green badge, so he's not only is he a taxi driver, he's also a tour guide, and as we said, they're bespoke guides that he can. Bespoke tours that he can tailor specifically to you and what you're interested in. So if you want to find him, you can phone him. We'll give you his phone number and everything. 07946 239 221. And we'll put all this information on our blog as well, and on our Facebook. And you can also find him on Twitter. He's at MCR Taxi Tours. So, and also if you just type in Manchester Taxi Tours into Facebook, you'll find him there. And Manchester Taxi Tours is just .com on the end of his website. So we had a brilliant time, and we're just going to hang around for a bit, just relax and unwind before we go on the tour.
Ooh. Yeah, because when we were driving around, he showed us where the old set was, and we happened to notice a car park there, so we're like, right.
A very expensive car park,
Very
which
expensive
just goes
car
to show you
park.
again why the taxi tour is better, because he can take you to these places and drop you off, and you don't.
Yeah, so we're going to go and find some lunch.
Oh, but before that,
go
we
on.
also went to go see as we said, we saw the new set.
Yes. Oh, we did. We saw the new set and then went round the front and saw the entrance to the Media City Coronation Street set with a big gold sign there.
Yeah, and as we pulled up, there were a trio of fans who were obviously there to a little pilgrimage to the gates. And they were walking away, and as we turned up in the black cab, they must have thought it was somebody arriving to
Somebody famous.
an actress to be delivered or an actor to be delivered to the gate. So they turned around, and it didn't really help when we got out of the taxi and John was taking a photo of us. It made us look even more like we were
We could be
celebrities.
the new stars.
But then they saw our faces,
yeah,
and they
no, don't know who that
realised
is.
they were just commoners like they are. So that was quite a funny little
That was
anecdote
funny.
that we have from the tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to go and have a coffee, and then we're going to go on the tour.
Yeah.
And we'll report back afterwards. Oh no, we're going to do reporting from the set.
We'll
aren't
try
we?
and do a bit of recording on the set.
And we're also
Depends what the
gonna
weather's
have-
like, to be honest.
Did some interviews with John as we went around, and we're going to do hopefully an interview with the tour guide if they've got enough time.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you later.
See you later. Okay, we are on the street now, would you believe it? We're just outside Victoria Court, in fact, the posh end of the street, with Rachel, who's one of the tour guides at the Coronation Street Tour, and she's very kindly agreed to answer some of our questions this afternoon. So thank you for joining us, Rachel.
It's okay, no worries.
So, Gemma, do you want to start off with the questions?
Yeah, so you're obviously working as a tour guide on
I am, yes.
the Corrie tour. So what made you apply for this in the first place?
Well, I always thought that Corrie would always be a good tour to go on, and to get the experience to go on it and to do the tour would be amazing for myself, and also to give a customer and the guest great experience.
Yeah.
Because it's a full package, isn't it? Because we do all the job, and then give them all the information. They can come on the street and see what they want to do and take as many pictures as they want. So I think it's a good package for the day.
You must be a pretty big fan of the show yourself, then, to want to
I'm
do
a huge
it.
fan.
Tell us about how long you've been watching.
Oh, years. 12, 14 years maybe, as long as I remember, really.
So you watch it with your family?
I do, yeah, with my mum and my dad.
Okay.
Who are some of your favourite characters?
Oh,
That's always a tricky one to ask.
I like Carla.
She's my
Must
favourite. I love
admit.
Carla.
Yeah.
What do you think about the current Carla storyline?
And I don't know, because I feel sorry for Carla.
Totally.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I take her side in everything.
Yeah, I think that Tina's just getting on my nerves now.
I think a lot of people are
Definitely.
a bit annoyed with
Yeah.
So have you met any of the stars at the show?
I
reckon?
have.
Yeah?
I've met pretty much all of them,
Have
apart
you?
from the odd few.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've met through waiting at the gates and meet and greets and stuff.
Okay. Any standout moments?
Oh, Mikey North, which is Gary Windass. I've met him so many times that we just talk with first names now, and
that's
it's
really nice. Is
yeah,
he really friendly?
It's really nice. Yeah, completely opposite to his character.
Yeah.
I know, he's
And
a
his
bit of a movie
stops
git,
and
isn't he?
yeah, pictures and everything. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the training you've had to do for the tour.
Okay, so we got a really long script that was able to narrow down to the main facts, and then we used to do tours in groups with all the other tour guides until we were able to do it in front of our guests.
So
And
you
just
kind of like trained with your sort of colleagues
Yes.
as the guests.
then we all knew and helped each other to learn the facts.
Okay.
And then did it that way.
Did you have to heckle each other? Did you have any sort of like training with heckling guests and troublemakers, or
Not
Yeah, to
really.
train
not
just in
anticipating
case.
any trouble? On the,
No,
on the
we all
tour?
wanted to learn as much as everybody else so we could
Yeah.
get the right things across.
Yeah.
So we was all really committed, and it was a really intense 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But we really enjoyed it, and it was fun.
So you're almost like an actor on the street yourselves, aren't you? Because all the lines that you've learned are sort of part of a script.
Yes, they
That's
are.
interactive with the sets,
Yeah.
and it's really amazing the way it's done. So what's your favourite part of the tour?
My favourite part of the tour, I like the reaction when they come out of the bistro, we had somebody yesterday that was like shouting and really amazed, beaming faces, and they really did enjoy it. You could tell with what they were saying. So yeah, that's probably the best part.
Has the weather been generally okay these last few days for the street reveal?
It's only been today that's been nice, because yesterday it rained all day, and I was on like outside jobs, but it's part of Weatherfield, isn't it? It's never going to be sunny.
So how's the first few days of it gone in general then? All going to plan,
first few days
apart from the weather?
Yeah, day 4 today, we're doing really well. Everything's sort of falling into place, we all know what we're doing, and it's coming to a good attraction.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Very good.
So what kind of final words would you say to encourage any of our listeners to come?
You've got to come, because it's only 6 months, and once it's gone, that's it. They're not going to open the new set for any tours, so you might as well have this opportunity. See the interior sets, because it's a great opportunity to see.
Once in a lifetime.
It is.
Definitely is.
Definitely.
It's been a fantastic afternoon. And thank you very much for joining us.
It's okay, no worries.
Thank you.
And we are back. We have been to Coronation Street. Sitting back in our hotel room now, very tired and exhausted, but we're going to report back on what a fantastic afternoon we've had. And the weather, it was great. It was lovely and sunny. I can't believe it was so very lucky.
I know, it's been raining on and off all weekend. I still think it's a weekend. All week that we've been here. We've been here for 2 days, so it's all week for me, because we fit in so much. And it was raining and pouring it down. But today,
beautiful sunshine. I knew we were coming.
We're so lucky. I know, because earlier in one of the recordings we did before we went to the site, we were saying, I hope it's not going to rain. And it didn't.
Yeah. Just like when yesterday we said, we hope we meet Jennie McAlpine. We did.
I hope I win the lottery.
Yeah, that's going to be the next one. If you don't hear from us again, it's because that one's come true. So the tour was really, really good. We got there. We were supposed to get there about half an hour early or so. So we went and sat down and had in the cafe, had a cup of tea and stuff. They were showing the Coronation Street moving story on a video. It was just kind of biding time until we could get in, really. And just outside the cafe, there were like lots of old black and white publicity shots, some Radio Times covers, just to get you in the mood. And then,
in case you didn't know where you were.
And then at 10 to 4, that was the time that our tour was booked. So we all got gathered together with our tour guide. What, 30 of us, do you reckon?
Yeah, 25 to 30.
Yeah. And then what was our tour guide's name? I don't even remember. Lady was our tour guide. Yeah, and she started, and she obviously had a script to run through, but she did a really, really good job. She was very enthusiastic about it, I thought.
Yeah, she obviously was a fan as well, and
yeah.
She was really good with people, and she handled the crowd really well, and she was good at managing everyone without being bossy and sort of making you feel like you were being herded around, although there was an element of that which is inescapable.
Yeah, I mean, they had so many groups to get round. We had to be herded around, especially in the inside bits, very quickly going from one place to another. There was just about enough time to see everything. But yeah, she did a good job of saying, right, let's go to the next bit. It's going to be really exciting what we go on to now. So the first place they take you into is the green room, which is where the actors go when they're waiting to go on set, where they learn their lines.
And only the actors were allowed in that bit, weren't they? It was a special sort of area, like a pen area. And it had seating, like sofas and everything. It had pigeonholes. And it still had a few of the actors' names on the pigeonholes and sort of like pretend bits of paper in there.
Yeah.
A little kitchen bit with a fancy coffee machine.
And they had a little soft, quiet area as well, didn't they?
There was like a sort of a curved seating area with very plush sofas and everything. And that was where the older actors go to sort of chill out and escape the hubbub of the rest of the actors.
So
the young'uns.
She gave us a talk there, and then on the video screen behind they had that excellent 4-minute or so video that they had for the moving from the old set to another, and then we were then taken through to the corridor of the stars, which is where everyone's dressing room was. So it started off with Philip Lowry's dressing room. A lot of them were closed off, weren't they?
To be honest, dressing rooms are underwhelming for me.
That's what I thought as well.
None of them were set up, because obviously the actors have moved their real dressing rooms to the other set, and there was no dressing room left there for older characters that have left. Of course, they haven't reserved any of them because they're all in use.
Take their stuff, yeah. And as far as I remember, the dressing rooms with the doors that were open, which had like, some of them had a bed inside, some of them had flowers and things, they all had the names taken off the door.
Yeah.
So some of them really could have been anyone's dressing room.
It was a shame. I'm sure they could have. I don't know if I'd wanted them to have made a really obviously fake one for like, you know, like Pat Phoenix or something.
Yeah, they could have done that. I don't know.
They could have had some of her old dress, you know, her old outfits in there and things. That would just be one of the very, very few things that I thought could have been improved upon. Because really, that's a nitpick, and it was.
Yeah, it was really cool being able to go down the corridor and say, oh look, that says William Wright. Oh, that says Beverly Callard. Ooh. Yeah, it was cool. And then from the end of the corridor there, it led us down. It led us actually
into the area where they had the costumes, didn't it?
Yeah, lots of costumes on racks.
Including Carla's wedding dress, a few items of Rita's, Emily's sort of matching skirt and cardigans. It had Bill's t-shirt that she...
Bill Tarmy's t-shirt, Jack's t-shirt, yeah.
I just know them by his first name. And yeah, she showed that and it was very, very iconic. And they had a couple of, I wouldn't say they were particularly well-known costumes out on display, which was one of Kirk's t-shirts and sort of an old cardigan of Janice's in the corner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they were particularly iconic.
Not particularly. But I think that one of Jack's, I can kind of think, I think I can imagine him wearing that.
Yeah, so she talked to us about the makeup and how many lipsticks they go through, and 50 lipsticks in a week or a month, or I can't remember. And there was a little makeup chair that she sat a little kiddie in. Yeah. They're quite overwhelmed by the whole experience. And obviously that's not where they would have done the makeup, because that's still in the costume department. They would have done that in a different place, but they
brought it down to show us.
It to show everybody.
Yeah. So we then went out of there into a very dark curtained room where they had a big video screen, and I thought, they're going to show us that same video again, but they didn't. They showed us another video, 3, 4, 5 minutes or so of other classic clips through the years, like the sadness of people dying, the explosions, lots of comedy moments. They ended on a Blanche line, didn't they? I think
they sort of went through like general clips, and then they sort of did a bunch of very sad clips. And I worked out what kind of person I truly am.
Why?
Because I was watching Hayley, there was lots of things like Hayley scene, Mike Baldwin dying in Ken's arms, etc. But the one that nearly got me crying was Schmeichel.
Yeah, he's always so sad when Schmeichel died.
I still, when I think of Schmeichel, it still makes me tear up. But anyway, and then it ended on a series of hilarious sort of one-liners, and it was really well paced, and
yeah, it was good. And then while we were watching it, we could hear the other talk groups ahead of us, and the people doing the talk, just to show how much we were being herded through. And then we were then allowed through, and that was when we got to see the first taste of the sets. So the first one we saw was very red and black and clearly recognisable as Carla's old flat.
Now, see, this is one thing that I can never truly believe that they expect me to swallow about Carla, that she went from that flat to living with Peter, and she hasn't changed a single thing about his apartment, because that flat is the flat of somebody who cares quite deeply about what things look like, but you wouldn't know it to look.
It was very pristine, wasn't it? The tour guide made a point of saying, look how the kitchen looks like it's never been used because Carla never cooked a thing in her life.
And if they spoke about how the flat represents her personality, and very glamorous and passionate and flocked wallpaper, and the only chandelier in Weatherfield as well. That was quite interesting.
But even though it was obviously recognisable as Carla's old flat, I still I couldn't picture the flat in my head. I obviously knew that it was red and black as Carla's, but if like the sofa had been the opposite end of the room, I'd have been like, yeah, that's still Carla's flat.
The thing about it is that quite a few of these sets were filmed from locked off camera positions that never ever change, and unless you were standing in that position, you wouldn't really recognise the angles.
No. One thing we can say about it and all the sets was that it was very, very small.
Yes. Yeah,
that's a bit of a cliche. That's what everyone says when they go to the street, but it's true for the indoors and the outside sets. Absolutely tiny, and a lot of them kind of end very abruptly. Like there's a sofa, and then that's the edge of the set.
Yeah.
And you think about it, and you think, actually, we never saw any more of that.
Yeah, if that was a wall there, they'd be staring at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had to be quite selective with the sets that they picked, because obviously they didn't have enough room to display all of them. And so
No, that was a shame.
Carla's set was very much there to show you the thought processes that go behind set design, and also because she's quite a popular character as well. And one thing I would say, if I was going to improve upon the experience at all, apart from what we said earlier, is I would have just a cross on the floor where the cameras would have been.
Yeah.
If you'd stood in that position and angled yourself,
Might have helped you to
it might have helped you
understand.
visualise it, because I could see it was Carla's flat, but I couldn't remember seeing any, like, the view I saw.
It's been a while since she's lived there as well, hasn't it? A few months. Now, one set which we had no problem kind of visualising and thinking, yeah, this is it, was the next one we saw, which was the Platt's house. And I think out of all the houses that are currently shown on Coronation Street, that is the most iconic, I think. There's so many scenes that are there and have been there over the years. And that was like, wow, this is just like it. There's the kitchen. And then that leading on to the dining room with that the sofa with the pink and the leopard skin throw over.
Yeah.
It's still very, very cramped.
And the tiny stairs. Gail should not have made a fuss about falling down those stairs. She could probably stand at the top and stick your leg out and be at the bottom.
Yeah, because they also showed how the stairs lead on to nothing. And when David has his strops running upstairs, he has to sit on, or Jack P. Shepherd has to sit on there until the end of the scene, because there's absolutely nowhere to go.
It kind of reminds me of when we went on the Harry Potter tour in the Gryffindors common room, and they had steps going up to the dormitories that went to nowhere, so the actors just had to walk up and then just stop. Yeah.
But I think that was my favourite set of all of the ones we saw, the indoor sets, the Platt set, just because how often we see that scene.
And also how likeable the characters are as well.
Yeah. And that's another one where recently we've seen a bit of the fourth wall, haven't we? Do you remember when Nick was doing his physio on the floor? Yeah. And then you got the view from the stairs down, and then there's this extra wall there.
What's happened?
Yeah. But that was fantastic seeing that. And I think when we went from there, am I right in saying, did we go into the Rovers after that?
It's all a bit of a blur now. I don't even remember what.
Because we weren't allowed to take pictures on the inside bit, so we can't have anything to chronicle our journeys there apart from our memories. But I think we went through to the Rovers then, and it was through the front door, and it was like, wow, we're actually in the Rovers. It was cramped again. I can't imagine them actually filming scenes there with all those actors there.
I know, because you think about the big scenes that they do where they have a party or something.
Yeah.
Because obviously they take the wall away, so that might sort of make it less claustrophobic.
Yeah, so we were all bundled into there. We sat on one of the booths, so that was quite exciting. And then that's the place where they take your commemorative photo. So we all took it in turns to go up behind the bar, pretend to pull a pint, and we got our photo taken, which we bought for like $7.50, I think, wasn't it, really to get that?
Compared to
the thing that struck me about the Rovers was how far back it went.
The bar behind the bar area.
Yeah, exactly. It was very narrow, but it went back a really, really long way. I was surprised. And where they have that little round table at the back, and then the door leading to the smoking area around by the toilet, where the toilet is, that's actually quite far. I had a bad sense of proportion for that. It was bizarre.
And also, if you were to try to walk to the smoking area, you couldn't, because there's a cupboard containing a piano.
I didn't even know they had a piano in the Rovers anymore. They should have a sing-song round that more often. I was really surprised to see that.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, but obviously this is something you can tell that it's been used for a long time. It's like in your house. There's always bits of your house where you don't use it anymore, and you just leave it as it is, and you know what I mean, like bits of your room or whatever. So you can tell that they're just like, well, we don't need to move this piano, we don't need this bit, so we just leave it in there. Yeah.
So at the end of that little bit, the tour guide rings the bell, and then we go through. I think the next place was. No, I think I'm just trying to remember. It might have been the factory next, or the factory was close to that. That was another one that in my head it looked completely different. So they just had a couple of sewing machines set up. They had those orange steps going up to the up to whatever's upstairs. They had Carla and Peter's office, but the blinds were all down, but you couldn't see into that, unfortunately. And that was a funny bit of the tour, because the voice of Mike Baldwin kept interrupting the tour guide, didn't it? Which was kind of a nice effect.
The set wasn't completely as it would be in the show, so it was hard for me to really understand where I was, to be honest, because there were only two sewing machines in there.
Yeah.
They'd been taken out so that everyone could stand
where all the other ones would be. There were lots of racks of knickers and things hanging
it kind of felt to me like we were in a set that had been reduced from its original size, because we had, if you're standing sort of facing in towards it, on your right and left are a pair of staircases that both go up, and it just seems so strange to me that if you were to film it from that angle, it wouldn't make sense at all. It would look completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why I still think all the way around you really needed to know where the cameras were set, so that you knew where to stand to sort of say, okay.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah,
definitely, it could have done with that.
It's like one of those 3D pictures where you don't really understand until you get your eyes in the right place.
From the factory, I think we went out to a section there where they had some props, or maybe that was straight after the Rovers. They had some coffins, didn't they? And they were bang up to date with some of these props, because Hayley's floral coffin was there, and they had Fred Elliott's wooden one as well, and also along the side those little bronze name plates that they have on top of the coffins for lots of different characters that had died, like Don Brennan and a few of the other ones was there. And Blanche's was there. And was that the place where they had the boat as well?
Yeah, the boat was along the back edge, and they also had 3 wedding outfits, which was Rita's to Dennis
from a few years
and
ago.
They had Dev's when he married Sunita, and they had Becky's pink dress.
Yes, yeah.
So those were really cool.
The boat we were talking about was the one that Martha had, who was played by Stephanie Beacham when she was having an affair with Ken.
Oh dear.
Whenever that was, a few years ago, and that was quite interesting, and that was a good way of showing, like, cutting away the fourth wall inside this little barge, and we got to see all the little details that they had there, including a little poster, wasn't it, for one of the character Martha's plays that she'd been in. So that was quite cool. Going along the corridor, then we saw the Duckworth's house, or Tyrone and Fizz's house, or whichever era you want to be in.
That one was another. It was like a melding, wasn't it? Because they designed it. It wasn't left exactly how it was. They kind of made it merged the two together.
Yeah, because it's a very iconic set, but from what era?
Yeah, it had the bar in the corner. It had the little waterfall picture.
Yeah,
didn't it? And the kitchen was very much Fizz and Tyrone's, because it had their fridge with all the letters.
With the alphabet on, yes, but spelling out Ruby and Hope and that.
Fizz and
So that was quite interesting to see. And then we got to see a few other props and things after that, didn't we? Like they had these glass cabinets which had Deirdre's glasses in, and Liz's zigzag necklace, and
hairnet,
and Hilda's rollers, and Elsie's red telephone. And I don't know how many of them are actually the props, whether they're just ones that they say were the props, but it was still quite cool to see. And I overheard the tour guide saying to somebody that the zigzag necklace is the actual one that Liz has been even wearing on the show this week, but because they filmed so far in advance, they were able to get it off and use it in the display. So have you seen the last of Liz's zigzag necklace on the show?
I love her zigzag necklaces.
I think we all do.
So they just suit her so much.
They also had a few bits from the tram crash, didn't they? That the big sign that saying there was a tram crash here if you know anything called
Incident.
Yeah, and they had bits of the bricks that were made of styrofoam.
I don't know if you're allowed to, but people were definitely giving them a fondle. So it's quite interactive. Some bits of it. The bits the sets you can't go on them, and they have it's quite sweet in a way, because they tape them across with live set do not touch, which is obviously what they used to do when they addressed the set and they needed people to leave it alone.
Yeah.
So that was quite a nice touch, actually, that they had that tape over the set.
Yeah. So from there we went through a couple of production rooms. That was just happened to be on the way, didn't they, where they had some monitors and twiddly knobs and things. But we didn't really stop there. There wasn't much to say. And we ended up in a little nook that was supposed to be the entrance hall to the bistro, and it didn't look like it at all, did it? It wasn't made up to look like the bistro. It was just the holding area for getting onto the street. So the doors were there in front of us. We could see it was sunny outside, which is a blessing. And then after a 3, 2, 1 countdown, doors opened, and there we were, out looking onto Coronation Street.
Coronation Street, and I now know where everything is.
This is what it's taken for Gemma to know the geography.
I am a visual learner, and I have to say, no matter how many times you tell me so and so is on Rosamond Street, and this is there, and that's not anywhere near it. It didn't ever really click until today. Now I know where everything is.
Yeah.
So
you were saying, I didn't know that the Webster's garage was there.
I can now say I am a Coronation Street expert, because that was the only thing that was holding me back before today. It was just geography. So
we had a look around. Where did we go? We looked at.
Well, as you come out, you're by Devs and also by the cabin, aren't you?
Yes.
And so you can go and sort of pose. You've got the free run of the street.
Yeah, this is the first time where you get free run and you can take as many photos as you like.
As long as you like. Your tour guide sort of hangs around a bit to answer questions, and there are tour guides posted along. I think they just kind of hang around.
And they'll take photos of you as well together, so if you want to get photos of all of your party together.
Yeah, and so in front of the Rovers, there's so many photo opportunities. We definitely didn't do all of them, because there's a phone booth, there's the bus stop, there's outside of the Rovers, there's the little post box outside Dev's, there's Audrey's, Maxine's bench. We didn't even sit on Maxine's bench, did we? Completely forgot about that. We must have just walked past it. We went down the Ginnel as one of the first places as well, didn't we? And that was weird, where they had some sound clips playing in the Ginnel. That was a bit random.
It was a bit random.
And they have a toilet.
Oh yeah,
Which
outdoors Kazi.
Don't miss that. That is an epic
highlight
photo opportunity. And they also had exactly the same patio furniture as us.
They did. The Rovers has got the same table as we do on our patio.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting to sort of go down there, and don't miss that, because it is actually easy to miss that.
It's really easy to miss the Ginnel. We saw some people ducking under the arch, and we were like, where are they going? Oh, that must be the Ginnel back there.
Yeah.
So that was worth seeing. And then of course around the corner there's all where Streetcars is, the Nuttall's Brewery entrance that you very rarely see on the show, and then all of
Barlow's
the new
Bars is in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the Victoria Court bit, which is all kind of squashed together, and that includes a couple of new houses that were built when they were planning to have more families move in just down the road from the butcher's shop, but then because of costs they never did. And that leads up to Victoria Court and even the entrance of the gym. And I had no idea where that gym entrance is supposed to be, and it's not set up to look like it, because obviously they finished filming in December. But that helped me get a good idea of where they go when they go into the gym now.
Yeah, it was actually really good. I don't understand this. There were so many places that didn't have anyone living in them, and the amount of people that are on the street that don't live on the street is nuts. Why don't they just all live there?
Get Audrey to move in next to the butchers.
Well, not Audrey, because that's fine. But you know what I mean. There were a few characters, and
yeah, well, I don't know
where they live.
A lot of them live in the flats above, don't they? Yeah. So we looked around. There were lots of people there. Got lots of photos. I mean, I don't know what there is to say really. It was Coronation Street. The cobbles were difficult to walk on.
They were. Yeah, depends on what footwear you have, but I think it's just because these actresses toddle around on them, they are pros. Okay, don't think you can go wearing 5-inch stilettos, because you might come a cropper.
But it was fantastic. So it's all these iconic sets just all around us. And I've been there before, you hadn't, but it had been a long time since I'd been there, and of course a lot of change since I'd been there last. It was brilliant, and all the little details that we could see.
Each of the houses has got a piece of paper that tells you who's lived there.
Yeah.
And previous residents and current residents.
That was interesting, but it does kind of get in the way of photo opportunities a bit. You want to kind of pose your photos specifically to get away from that.
How they could get around that.
No.
There's a little coffee cart that's there as well, so if you are feeling like you need some refreshment, that's the place to go for that.
They also had Graham's window cleaning cart as well, didn't they? Randomly.
That was nice.
That's a photo opportunity, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you could go up the steps to the Chippy, and then the medical centre, which is where the souvenir shop is. And that's where you got your photo from behind the bar of the Rovers. They had a few bits of souvenirs there. There wasn't a huge range, but I mean there isn't a lot of Coronation Street memorabilia these days. There were bags, there were mugs, and then there were sort of generic British sweets, like you could get your Coronation Street rock and the Coronation Street pear drops.
I didn't even look at these because I was queuing up for the photo.
Oh yeah, and behind the counter there was Roy and Hayley's snowman, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there's cool. Also because there's a few sort of doors and signs for the hospital inside as well.
For the medical centre,
yeah. So
yeah.
Well, it's not medical, is it?
Yeah, it's a medical centre though.
Okay.
And then that was it pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. And then you go back out and there's a cafe that you wait in, like we said earlier, and I wouldn't really save a special meal for there. If you're gonna
No, it's just teas, coffees.
If you need to eat before you go or eat after you finish. Don't planned to eat there, because as far as I could tell, it depends what time of the day you went. You probably wasn't much there.
No, and
There
it
were
really
a
was
few
just
sausage rolls
it was a
and stuff.
holding room for people waiting to go on their tours. Really,
It was
wasn't
just full. It was like a waiting room for doctors, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
full of people sitting
absolutely.
at tables in near silence. You could tell who'd been and who was waiting, because the people that had been were like, the people that were waiting were like, tension, cannot wait to go to Coronation Street. And
And in that cafe afterwards was where we met T4,
Yes.
friend of the show,
Yeah.
weekly emailer.
oh,
and we got
I
to
think
see
we have
her.
to call her a Conversation Street contributor now at this point.
I think so.
She
Yeah,
almost needs credits at the beginning of each podcast.
yeah. She
It
was there with her
lovely to meet
fiance
her.
Graham.
Yeah.
Very
They
nice
were
to
lovely.
meet her
They
at
were
last.
so nice.
We had a nice chat for
Had a
about
hug
three
and a
quarters of an
chat.
hour. We were talking there, wasn't it? It
Yeah,
was
we had to
very
rush
nice
off.
to meet her
We
in
could have
person.
sat there all evening, but we had to rush off because we were paying up through the nose already for our
the parking.
So we ran off. They
Yeah.
they said very sensibly parked somewhere that was £6 for
Yeah.
the whole day, but we paid 3 times that much for half
for
the
like
day.
5 hours.
Yeah, because we're from down south, and we like to pay more for everything, even when we come up north.
Yeah, well, that was really fab meeting her.
Yeah, it was really cool. She told us a few sort of things about stuff she knew about the set and how when she'd visited before and things that
Yeah,
had
because
happened.
she is a
and
bit
things
of an
she'd seen.
expert as well.
She is a bit, yeah. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and from there we went home,
Yes, we did, didn't we?
and that is where we are now. Well, back at the hotel anyway. So
Yeah.
we'll be heading off to dinner soon. Oh, and we didn't say as well that thank
Yeah.
you very much, Rachel, for agreeing to talk to us.
Yeah, poor Rachel wasn't actually scheduled to speak to us, but she did so very professionally. And she was very lovely, and all of the tour guides seemed like really great people.
Yeah, and big fans of the show as
Yeah,
well.
I think they've got sort of, and they'd had so many experiences too on the sets. They've been to the new set, so they can tell you how it differs.
Yeah.
They can tell you. They just take the time when you're on the street to actually talk to some of the tour guides.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
Because when they're going around, taking you around the sets, they can't really. They've got their set script. They've got to get you round in a certain amount of time because there's so many people coming through because it's so popular.
Yeah.
It's only open for 6 months. They've got to get everyone through as quickly as they can. But when they get onto the street, that's when you can start asking them questions and ask them. Tell us about when you went to go to see the set. How did you prepare for this? Because those are the questions we asked them.
Yeah.
And they've spent an incredible amount of time meeting the actors, going to different sets, exploring the sets themselves,
Yeah,
learning
lots
about
of stories
the
to
show.
tell.
And yeah, it is definitely worth chatting to them for a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll be back with our next update tomorrow. Alright, and we are on our way back home now. It's Wednesday afternoon. We've seen it all, and we're back home to Southampton.
Yes.
I'm
driving. I'm busy.
Gemma's busy driving at the moment, so she can't say much. But we've had a lovely time. We just spent today looking around Manchester city centre, doing the shops. Went to the Arndale Centre, and got lots of nice good views. I've decided I like the skyline of Manchester. There's like lots of old buildings and new buildings, and even like some of the old factory stuff has been kept pretty well, and some of it's been modernised nicely. And then there's also some just nice new modern buildings.
It's Harvey Nichols and Selfridges, so I think it's quite nice.
If you're interested in that sort of thing. So yeah, we're on our way home now. And highlights of the trip, Gemma?
Going to Coronation Street.
Oh yeah,
I was going to
say that.
Meeting
Good job,
lots
really.
of really nice people.
Yes, there were
And
lots of people.
learning about Coronation Street from the experts.
Yes, and meeting Jennie McAlpine, of course, was pretty good too.
Well, yeah, we met. So many nice people. I can't even remember all of their names, but Tivor and
Yeah, Rob and Ken as well, who we met
Yeah.
in Annie's, was good. Yeah, we managed to fit loads of cool stuff in, wasn't it? It was a proper busy holiday with lots of sightseeing. Yeah, we're tired.
Can't wait for the weekend.
That's a sign of how good it is. So we'll be signing off now, and I'll get back home and edit it all together in a package, which hopefully you have just heard.